mostly how we knew each other. No, there was no friendship. I knew Jen from way
Well,
back.
Leo and Jonah were good
Well,
friends.
of course.
And I played Leo's mother in Marvin's Room 100 years ago.
Yes, wow, that was like,
They've been mother and son ever since.
right, that's like 1996 or something crazy. Yeah, and I did go back and realize that The Big Short, The Revenant, and Joy were all the same year. So you were all three, at least the three of you, doing the award circuit, and then we all remember I beat Meryl at the Golden Globes.
I was quoting the First Wives Club. It was the most obscure movie in quote. It was not a good decision. I was 22. I apologized to Meryl about it a couple of years later. She had no idea what I was talking about.
Still don't, yeah.
Was there ever payback for that?
What?
Was there ever payback for that?
I'm so far down here, I don't know what we're talking about.
I love that Meryl's at the end of us. Yeah. Should we switch or?
No, I'm so happy.
Adam, when I watched this film, I thought to myself, this is a brilliant allegory for COVID-19, which it is. But then when I learned more about it and realized that this movie was conceived and written before we even knew the word COVID, because it was originally meant to be an allegory for climate crisis, which of course it is. But what was it like for you to end up kind of balancing both of those allegories in the film? How much, if anything, changed once the world changed?
Yeah, I think, we could kind of all, I'm sure everyone here could see that we were headed towards very strange, choppy waters 4, 5, 10, 20 years ago. So in writing the script, I didn't know the pandemic was coming, although some climate scientists have said that pandemics will increase. But we all kind of knew things were teetering. It's like if you see someone lean against a pyramid of champagne glasses and they start to teeter, I think you know what's going to happen. So it was surprising, but not that surprising. And the whole movie from the very beginning, when I talked to these guys about it, was trying to capture a moment that we've been living through for the past half decade or decade, which is, I don't even know how to define. It's somewhere in between the Jonestown flood and the final Price is Right showdown. It's this strange mixture of irrational exuberance and total stark fear. So yeah, when the pandemic hit, it surprised us, but it was kind of already built into the script.
Leo, you spent so much of your time and energy on climate-related activism. You used your global platform when you won an Academy Award to make a very impassioned and articulate plea for that. When did you realize that Adam was kind of a brother in that fight? And what were the conversations that the two of you had over the years before you actually filmed this?
I actually remember him speaking that night after I made that speech, and you came up to me and said that was really fantastic that you did that, and it was like our first sort of interaction. And of course, I've been a fan of his work for a long time, and then this movie just came at, I don't know, perfect time. It was like a godsend in a lot of ways. I mean, how do you create a sense of urgency and tension with an issue that evolves over a century? How I had been looking for a film about the climate crisis, but from a narrative perspective, it's next to impossible. You either do some, existential journey through, a person's lifetime, or you make it a catastrophe movie where New York freezes over and people are, dealing with the apocalypse, which this movie is. But the brilliant stroke that Adam had, and it was really a stroke of genius, is by creating a comet that was, you know, going to make impact within a year's time. How do we as a species, what as a society, as a culture, politically deal with imminent Armageddon? No pun intended. And so I just looked at this opportunity as a really once in a life. He had cracked the code, so to speak, on how to bring all the insanity that we as the human race, you know, are responding to this crisis in a 2-hour format. And like with any movie that I want to be a part of, it's always got to have tension and that sense of urgency. And so, of course, you know, the cast that he brought together was also an unbelievable opportunity too. But it was a great gift. That's how I looked at it.
Jennifer, my understanding is that you're something of an Adam McKay super fan. What's the source of the fandom? Was it a particular film that you saw, or was it the whole body of work?
Again, I feel like I make you've never told me that I make you feel old when I talk like this. I'm just projecting. But I mean, I don't remember I don't remember when I saw Anchorman. I just grew up quoting Anchorman. And then when Step Brothers came out, I saw it only 4 times in the theater. And I you know, like Funny or Die, and I just was a huge fan, and I went to his office when I was 18, and I remember having a binder, but I don't know what was in it. It was just listen up, here's the thing, your movies are great, and this binder is gonna show you why I should be in them. So I've always wanted to work, and then, you know, just watching his career, he's so brilliant, and I've just always really wanted to work with him, and that's the end of the story.
But you didn't get to actually meet with him with the binder, or you did?
I think he was busy.
I was busy, I had other shit going on. A busy guy.
Meryl, have you ever been asked to play the president before, or was this a first?
No, yeah, I think this is the first, yeah.
I mean, that almost surprises me that you had been at least vice president before. You know?
Yeah, no, and this particular kind of president was very delicious to play. I really got my rocks off, I have to say. About certain tropes of how women are supposed to be in public life and in the media, and all those bright primary colors that everybody wears. And, yeah, I just I found it really, the script was unbelievably great. But the movie's 10 times, a million times better than the script. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how you did it. And I only was there for my part. I mean, I wasn't supervising Leo in the way that I wanted to. As his mother. But yeah, so it came as a complete shock how brilliant it is, and how Hank Corman, just that editor is just amazing.
Hank Corman, we should say, who edits basically all of your film.
Yeah, the last 3 movies and TV shows I've done. Also, credit to this idea was a very tricky idea. I had written a bunch of different ideas of how to enter the idea of the greatest, most important story in the history of mankind, the climate crisis. I had written ones that I wrote 1-page treatments that were dramatic.